Welcome to Tone Talk. How's everybody doing today? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm looking at the news today, you know, the somber news that's coming out of Texas, coming out of Houston, particularly in the surrounding areas, and my condolences go out to all of the families that are there. But I'm particularly looking at, you know, again, the African-American families and the impact this has on black wealth. You know, for so long living here in California, one of the things that I've been hearing is about, oh, you should leave California and buy property in the South. And one of the 2 to 3 main areas that I've seen talked about is Houston. And I kind of want to deal with the reality of what we're seeing in terms of wealth, in terms of race. And so everybody kind of gets a larger context on, a larger lens on this, because I do think there's some nuance to the visual. Right now, there's so much price gouging going on. And when you look, you know, I posted a picture on Facebook. I'm going to show it to you now of these 4 to 5 black children. One of them actually uses the ventilator, sitting on this kitchen table. And I want you to notice that the line below them is actually not the ground, it's water. And then you have this reality of a surrounding capital that's gouging prices. $9 a gallon gas, $25 for a pack of water, if not $42 for Dasani. And you start to see the impact of black wealth instability at full display, albeit you do see the impact on other groups as well. But like as I've said to you before, the middle black family in this country, when you take out depreciating assets, is worth $1,700. The middle white family is worth $110,000. Wouldn't it be nice to have a couple $1,000s to spend on core needs at this point? And so, like, you have this brunt of consequence of lack of wealth hit you full on, and the question is, like, what could have been done to prepare for this, if anything at all? And then what does it mean? You know, when I tell you that the middle black family is worth $1,700, understand I'm also telling you that the likely number of them, their liquid wealth, is well below $500, maybe $300 to $500. And so, like, when you start to deal with that impact on, like, black family, the question then becomes, are you even able to stabilize your family during regular times, but particularly during a catastrophe of this sort? And somebody might say no one can stabilize their family, and I would argue that some people actually could. They left early, and they had a hotel room. They didn't feel that a hotel room in another state was going to set them back so much. They could miss work because they have sick time. They don't drive Uber. There's so many factors here to unpack, and I think that for us, inside of these supposed safe havens of home ownership, where the homes are $100,000 or $115,000, we still run from the reality of wealth. And it's not just us, it's many Americans running, but like it's so much of a critical mass of our group that we don't demand politics and we don't demand change. I mean, you have Trump recently cutting back on FEMA. I'll pull up an article. I mean, were we there to understand how that impacts us exponentially more because we don't have wealth? No, we weren't, you know. And I feel like in some ways people are not understanding, like, how this all went down. I want to cut a clip in so you can actually hear a woman actually talk about how sudden this happened. Because I think for a lot of us that aren't there, we're creating a narrative whereby, if, you know, why didn't everybody just leave early? Well, they weren't told to evacuate. And then in addition, the way that it's set up, Houston is set up, there aren't a lot of arteries to evacuate anyway, so staying home was the best answer.
It's not surprising to hear that others might feel the same way, Caroline.
We spoke with one woman. She said, I had no warning. I woke up, I made my tea, my husband was getting ready for work, and then the water started coming in. She said it got high as your belly button. The refrigerator flipped over. Their garage was all gone. She had a laundry basket of all of her belongings, everything she could grab. She threw some clothes in. She said, I didn't even brush my teeth. Had I known, I would have gotten out of town Thursday. So there are some very upset folks. The folks on the ground, though, the constables.
And so, like, you have this reality where you're cooking breakfast at 7:30. By 7:40, you're knee deep in water. By 7:45, 7:50, you're waist deep. And, like, do you understand, if you're not there, what that means in terms of mold in the house? And how, again, if you only have $1,700 in worth, you can't fix no mold. And, like, you gotta keep on, for so many of us, what we do is create a narrative where white people are poor too. I keep telling you, like, 30% of white families, there's 80 million of them, have over 300 grand in worth. 50% have over 100 grand. So 40 million of their families are worth over $110,000. 30% of their 80 million families, over like 23 million families, are worth like something like $350,000. So you can, you can pay that $10,000 to get that mold out properly out of your home. And so, let's start unpacking this and dealing with this reality of what it's like to see a year of rain in less than a week. They're expecting 50 inches of rain. One of the things that's happening is that this hurricane's path usually would like go up into the middle of the country, but because of a high pressure storm, it's staying still right over Houston, and it's going to stay there for a week. They've already seen 9 trillion gallons of rain, and they're expecting another 9 trillion gallons. And so, like, you have some places at 25 to 27 inches of rain, and they're expecting 50 by Thursday. 50 by Thursday. And so, what you start to understand is that the devastation of this community, really impacts African Americans, because so many like striving middle class aspirational blacks moved to this area under the idea that it presented more stability, but in reality it was just another form of instability. And in explaining that, what I'm saying is that they staved off the immediacy of having to rent in, say, California, in exchange for the possibility of a storm as we see in Houston. And the reason why I believe that to be the case shows up most clearly in the way that they don't include flood inside of their homeownership insurance, and then it's really not a push for people to get that in the communities. I mean, I think by some accounts only 15 to 20% of homeowners even have flood insurance in that area. So a lot of people just lost everything. A lot of white and black people, but a lot of black people, that will devastate the trajectory of their middle class like aspiration in a wholly nother way. And I think for so many of us, what we don't see, and this is my own evaluation, is the reality that these flood insurance companies don't want to pay for a whole city. I mean, like, if your pipe break with your washing machine in your basement or something like that, that's different. But the reality is part of the reason that these homes are $100,000 is they're in a pathway of storms and things of the sort. And like, what is the impact of having to run into this pathway and kind of keep your fingers crossed that it never happens? So much of what I hear is, what are the solutions? Of course, let's start off like as a family. If you are going to have a family and be in the pathway of storms, hurricanes, and even if you're in California with earthquakes, you gotta be prepared to last a week, so that you can't get price gouged. Did you have the packs of water in your house? Did you have enough canned goods to get through 3 to 5 days? Or did you position your family to be vulnerable in the midst of a reality that you already don't have no wealth? So you don't have enough wealth to pay $45 for say, that much water, for a case of water. Did you put 2 cases of water in a place and change them out every 6 months so your family is ready? And did you stress test your roof if you planned on possibly using that as a last resort to stand on? Stress test it for the amount of weight that your family would need to put up there, with the dog and the cat too. Did you do that? And if you didn't do that, all I can say is that this isn't the moment when the hurricane's here to find out if that all is going to play out. Because pulling back up the price gouging, these capitalists are not playing. These capitalists are basically putting you in a position where you got to choose between starvation, between lack of water, and paying $50 for a case when you don't really have that $50. I know you don't have it because I know the data. And so, again, my condolences goes out to the families in Houston, but for a lot of us, this brings to the front for a lot of us, this brings to the front the reality that we got to start being aware. We got to start being active. We got to start demanding more. We got to be there when FEMA gets cut back and know that it's going to impact us most. And again, let's just show support for Houston. Let's keep all that going. And if you're in that area with boats, they're saying get down there to help them people rescue people. Thank you.